We have this Porsche 992 GT3 RS in with us today with the Visac pack, and we're just taking a look over it to see what the differences are in the aerodynamics and the suspension when compared to the 992 GT3 or the 991.2 GT3 RS. There are quite a lot of differences to both. So starting at the top effectively, we're taking a look at the wishbones, and the upper wishbone and the lower tension arm are actually aero profiled now on these cars, helping to generate more downforce, which is a really cool upgrade, and you don't see that very often on the road car Porsche platforms. It's more of an open wheel design, so it's really cool to see that going on in here. It shares the same camber block as the 992 GT3, so it's the same physical part, however it is set to a more aggressive setting as standard than you would get a 992 GT3 out the factory, so it's running more front camber than the 992 GT3. It's also got a wider track width than the 992 GT3, so it's got a billet machine block actually shimmed inside the arm to help give the whole car more track width on the front. That's going to help with understeer, and it's going to give a lot more stability at the front end as well. We've also got active aero on this, which is really cool. So it's got a flap in the Venturi ducts that is incrementally adjustable, but the car does that for you, so it's completely automatic. So it effectively opens and closes the flap inside that tunnel to activate or deactivate the tunnel, giving more or less front downforce, which is a really nice touch. That is usually adjustable on the 992 GT3 or the 991 GT3 RS's, but it has to be manually adjusted by undoing screws and moving the flap up or down, so you've got what you set basically, whereas this can be changed on the fly. We've also got, probably the biggest difference is the huge front anti-roll bar, and the rear anti-roll bar is equally increased in size. So it's made from carbon fibre front and rear with a huge diameter over the previous generations, which will give a lot more cornering stiffness. So the car's going to be a lot flatter through the corners. It's going to be a lot more stable and direct. However, in a straight line and driving it on the roads, you're still retaining the level of comfort because you're allowing the car to run a softer spring, because in the corners, the roll bar is going to do all the work and give you that cornering stiffness there. The final upgrade I'd say is most notable on the front is the active shocks, which is front and rear. So usually on the Porsche with the PASM, you have a button and you can stiffen or you can soften your car. So if you go into track, you hit the PASM button, have a stiffer chassis. However, on the GT3 RS, they've taken it to the next level, and they've actually given you independent control over each damper with front and rear bump and rebound control, which allows you to fine tune the compression damping and the rebound damping, which helps you improve traction, control how the wheel is operating, and also control how the chassis is going into a corner and out of a corner, front and rear, and getting that balance right. Some of the major and more obvious key changes to the 3RS over the GT3 are the aerodynamic adaptations. So they've got more pronounced wheel arch vents than a 991. They've also introduced these vanes, which have a bigger cutout on the wing at the back edge. That's on the front and the rear of the car. And what this does is effectively works harder to bleed more high pressure air out of the wheel arch. So at really high speeds, you're not building the high pressure in the arches that would generate lift. It's bleeding that out to allow the aero to work properly and keep the downforce working at its most optimum. At the rear of the car is probably the most advanced change to the aerodynamics, which is the active rear wing system. So it's got more downforce than the 991 by some margin. However, what it does have is the actuators on the rear, which operate DRS, which reduces drag in a straight line at high speed. It will open the flap and reduce downforce, but increase top speed capabilities. And then under heavy braking, it will also operate as an air brake, and it will increase braking forces by using the wing to slow the car down. So at the rear of the car, we've got a very similar setup that we'd usually see on a 991 GT3 RS, and very similar to the 992 GT3 as well. It's a multi-link suspension system. It's all solid bush and spherical. That's the same at the front of the car as well. You've also got the active damping that the front shares, so you can tune the bump and the rebound from within the car. And you've also got the active rear steer system. The rear steering system module on this car is a bit more aggressive, and it is more active than before, so it gives more pronounced changes to the chassis, increasing stability, turning rotation to get the chassis working and make it feel like a more nimble car. All the wishbones, front and rear, are all monoballed. We've got a stiffer spring at the rear to help manage the increase in aerodynamics, and we've got a slightly wider track width as well. But on the whole, it's very similar to the previous generation.